So I want to assure the public, foot and mouth disease vaccine has been used in this country for 60 good years. Nothing has changed about this vaccine. Nothing. So I want to assure the public that it is the same. But again, we are telling the public that this is how our vaccine looks like. This is where you need to scratch to make sure that you send, so that should any other product get into the market, counterfeit, it can easily be flagged down. So we are also vigilant because we don't want other products from different places to get into the market that have not been cleared by the Veterinary Medicines Directorate. And then now we have these issues coming up. We are protecting our product, we are protecting the farmers, and we are ensuring that we stick to our business, which is to protect livestock against diseases. So farmers, I want to confirm to you that as I am there to protect you, and I can give you my guarantee. And I would want to state categorically that KVA is not against vaccination. KVA only placed some reservations, but it is not. The bottom line is Kenya VeterinaryAssociation supports vaccination. And the reservations that Kenya VeterinaryAssociation had placed is, can we just stay the project a bit so that we put a few things in order? The drive is local. The drive is informed by purely local mechanisms. And I mentioned the issue of trade. And actually the thinking was very simple. If livestock industry has been contributing to up to 12% of the GDP without government's intervention. Now, what if the government intervenes? And let me tell you, by the way, it is not about vaccination alone. The government is doing a lot. There are three key drivers in livestock production, in the livestock industry. And the first one is nutrition, the second one is genetics, and the third one is disease. So, unfortunately, the politicians only singled out disease control. Why are they not mentioning what the government is doing concerning matters nutrition, matters concerning breeding? Because the government is doing a lot. We have done a 3-area focus to be able to grow our livestock industry. Ensure that we have adequate feeds, ensure that we have superior breeds that are able to produce what the market requires, and then control the diseases so that we can access all the markets.
Hello viewers, welcome to our one-on-one interview with Managing Director of KVVAPI, Kenya Veterinary Vaccine Production Institute. I'll be interviewing him about the livestock vaccination that was officially launched yesterday in Laikipia with the aim of vaccinating 22 million livestock. First thing first, Bonemdi, welcome to KBC and to Iftin FM.
Thank you, Sharif.
I would like you to make us understand the importance of this massive livestock vaccination, and why now.
Thank you. We are happy that the government has focused on vaccination. This is a very unique opportunity, not just for KVVAPI, but also for livestock farmers. Remember, in the past, we've had campaigns that have not been to this magnitude. And the reason why the government got interested in carrying out these exercises, because we have traditionally been producing our livestock and selling it locally. But now, because we are able to sell most of our cash crops overseas to get better prices, but for livestock, we have had one big impediment, which is livestock diseases. And when His Excellency was briefed by the technical persons, and they said we cannot reach some of the markets, including the Qatar market that we lost, simply because of livestock diseases. His Excellency directed that we can control these diseases and we should embark on the same. And he took a lead, and he is the one during Madaraka Day who pronounced that we are going to carry out mass vaccination. And he has taken the lead from the front. And this is largely because of trade issues. And this is an opportunity for us to be able to sell our meat, because our meat is prime meat. In most of these countries, they are doing industrial production of meat. But in our case, we have grass-fed, it's organic kind of meat, but we are only limited by diseases. So why only diseases? So that is why we are here to carry out mass vaccination.
What are the diseases that will be targeted for this vaccination?
Thank you. We have 2 diseases. Remember, livestock diseases are many. At national level, we have 2 priority diseases. The first one is foot and mouth disease in cattle. Foot and mouth affects cattle, sheep, and goats, and all the cloven-footed animals. But it is much easier to control the disease if we do an excited vaccination plan on cattle. And that is why we are vaccinating cattle against foot and mouth disease. And this is our most important trade-sensitive disease, and that is why it has been singled out by the government. The other disease is Pestis des petits ruminants. In other language, it is called goat plague. Remember, a few years ago, actually more than 13 years ago, in the year 2011, the world pronounced that we had eradicated rinderpest in cattle. So PPR is a form. It's actually called pseudo rinderpest. It's a false rinderpest, but in this case now it affects the sheep and goats. Rinderpest was affecting cattle, and the whole now world is focused on now also eradicating goat plague, which is pseudo rinderpest, which is PPR disease. And that is why also as a country we have also aligned our disease control plans to be able to carry out mass vaccination for PPR.
Are these diseases spread in all the country, or it is only in a certain region that this vaccination will be carried out?
The mass vaccination will be running in the whole country, but this will be largely be informed by the surveillance data. When it comes to PPR is a disease that is everywhere. And do you know how PPR spread? The disease entered Kenya through the northern part. That's in Uganda, in Turkana. But because of trade issues, the disease spread to other counties and the rest of the country. And this is because you'd go to the market and get a very nice gala goat. Some would even go to slaughterhouses. Before the animals enter the slaughterhouse, they are bought outside. And because of lack of taking measure of biosecurity, one would bring a goat that is already sick to his flock. And that is why PPR spread all over. FMD, we have an elaborate surveillance plan for FMD disease. And I'm very certain that the Director of Veterinary Services, as he carries out mass vaccination, he'll focus on surveillance data that is available. Yes.
I understand the vaccination is voluntary. What will happen if some of the pastoral communities or some of the livestock farmers refuse to vaccinate their animals? And the way this disease is spread is through the movement of the animals, the migration, all those things. Will we be able to achieve our goals?
When it comes to disease control, vaccination is just one. There are several methods of disease control, but vaccination is just one. So I would want to say vaccination in itself is one of the major, but also alongside vaccination there is movement control. And you remember during COVID, that one became very apparent. And now, in fact, after COVID, we should not be having any problem explaining why vaccination is important, because people saw what normally happens when there is a disease outbreak. We normally place what is called quarantine. There's limited movement of people in and out of infected zones. And number two, vaccination now starts so that you are building what is called herd immunity. And this is what we talk about, 70 to 80% of the population should be protected against the disease. That is the herd immunity level that we are looking at. It will be unfortunate if we do not achieve a substantive percentage of the herd immunity, because if we don't focus correctly on this, and maybe we currently, I'll say foot and mouth, we are below 20% coverage. For me, I'll say this is a process. If we can achieve 50%, it will be a progress in the right direction. But we will continue educating farmers so that they understand the importance of vaccination. I want to pick, allow me to just take a little more time and pick an example of what happened sometime in the field, when I used to work in the field. There is a time we were doing FMD vaccination campaign, and we were only requesting community members to construct a cattle crash so that they bring their animals and we vaccinate free of charge. And in one area they refused. They said, you cannot force us to do a cattle crash. You just tell us where we'll get that vaccine. We'll buy, we have money, we'll buy. And we vaccinated all other areas. And that area, we did not vaccinate. I'll tell you, in another 3-4 months, the same community came to us. And they were like, where can we get that vaccine? Why? The animals that were vaccinated, even though they are sharing the same boma, the vaccinates were not showing any signs, while the non-vaccinates were showing signs. So they understood the importance of vaccination, and going forward, it was much easier to be able to convince them for subsequent vaccination. So I would say we will start. We will continue educating farmers. That is the most important thing. Education, to me, is the most important. We will start as we are educating them. The first year we may not achieve 70%, but we will be somewhere. I believe as long as we start and we head the right direction, in a record 3 years, we'll have achieved what we are planning to.
If the livestock are vaccinated in this drive, how long will they remain vaccinated, or will they remain protected from diseases?
Now, these two diseases are very interesting. Foot and mouth has a very short protection period of 4 to 6 months. So between 4 and 6 months, we're supposed to repeat vaccination. But for PPR, one shot is protects the animal for the whole of its lifetime. So that is the interesting part. So it means eradicating PPR is so easy. I only need to vaccinate if I can achieve 50% with a proper identification. Next time I only vaccinate the remaining, and I build on the numbers. Yeah, and in a year or two, you have covered all the population. Now the young ones that will be coming up, and there is no active infection. In 2-3 years, PPR will be completely controlled, even without proceeding with vaccination.
There are a lot of voices against this vaccination from Kenya VeterinaryAssociation, from the oppositions. So how safe is this vaccination?
First, I'm a member of the Kenya VeterinaryAssociation, and Dr. Kelvin is my chair. And we have sat with him and we have discussed, and I've also looked at the press briefing from KVA. And I would want to state categorically that KVA is not against vaccination. KVA only placed some reservations, but it is not. The bottom line is Kenya Veterinary Association supports vaccination. And the reservations that Kenya Veterinary Association had placed is, can we just stay the project a bit so that we put a few things in order? So I would want to say and be clear that KVA supports vaccination. I'm a member. I was a former chair for KVA Rift Valley branch. The current chair is my very good friend. We consult a lot, and KVA is not against.
KVA, they have raised some issues. Among them is the lack of stakeholder participation. and public participation, I think, is a very important element in such important drive. So why is the rush? If they are asking for stakeholder participation, was it not good to hear them out and then call for stakeholder participation and postpone the drive for even 1 month or 2 months?
I would want to say, from my point of understanding, is that we are not in a rush. We are not in a rush. You see, the moment you say we are starting, I don't know how people will interpret that, but to me, when you say we are starting stakeholder consultations, we are starting public awareness. So these are the processes that are starting. And actually, I'd want to say people misinterpreted the whole thing of we are starting in January. Because right now, we have met, there have been quite a number of meetings. I've attended some of them. There has been a lot of consultation. We have done a lot of public awareness through our media stations and even in the field. And we continue. This is a continuing process. So remember that the hardest thing to do is to start any journey. But the moment you do the first step, then now you have all the opportunity to go with everybody. And this one, I'll say, it was not rushed. It was just misunderstood. But in terms of all of us working together, we are working together. We are engaging. KVeVapi, since the pronouncement in June, we have had concerted efforts to be able to raise our production numbers. So I know KVA was talking about our capacity. This is work in progress. About consultation, this is work in progress. 2 weeks ago, actually not 2 weeks ago, but last week on Monday and Tuesday, the Director of Veterinary Services brought all the County Director of Veterinary Services in Safari Park, and he explained to them clearly what the process entails. And from there now they are going to the areas. This was a launch we are starting in one county, but as the word is spreading and there's a lot of what is it called? It is stimulating the discussion and the interest, and now everybody wants the vaccinations to be done. We'll be rolling out like that going forward. So this is work in progress.
On the capacity, KVA, they question the capacity of KVeVapi in producing the large amount of the doses that are required for this vaccination. So I would like you to tell us how many doses KVeVapi has produced so far and how many more are remaining, and whether we will achieve, whether KVeVapi will produce the amounts or the doses that are required for this vaccination.
First, I'll say vaccines are a very interesting product. I can go into mass vaccine production, and once I've filled all my tanks with the antigen, there is a delay in absorbing this vaccine. Foot and mouth vaccine has a shelf life of 1 year. So you just make a slight mistake, you will produce a vaccine, and in no time you'll be remaining with 3 months to expiry. And the customers will be like, no, we want vaccine with long expiry. So vaccine is something that is produced as it is being used to be effective. We don't produce vaccine to store it and wait. We produce vaccine to use. What we have been doing as KVeVapi, I mentioned that after the pronouncement and even before the pronouncement, we had already, because we were also receiving orders from other countries, and we embarked on increasing our antigen production. And in December, we installed a vessel. It's called a bioreactor. A bioreactor mimics a body of a human being. And we are able to grow cells. Remember, the body of a human being is made up of cells. So we grow cells in bioreactors. And these cells are the ones which we use to produce the vaccine. So we went into expansion of cell production so that we can produce more antigen. And we have been putting all these measures. Another issue that has led to what KVA was raising is because in the past, especially during COVID time, we had challenges of vaccine flow. And some counties would have to wait for a little bit longer, for 2 to 3 months or so. And this was largely because of what you call supply chain management issue, especially for the chemicals that we source them outside. And you see, without one chemical, you cannot be able to blend. Out of 40 chemicals, you cannot be able to complete the process. So what we have been doing as Kenya VeterinaryAssociation is to put everything in place in good time. I can tell you that now we have our capacity from what we were doing 1 year ago. We are able to produce antigen 3 times what we were producing a year ago. And still, by the time we finish the remaining part, we'll be able to improve our production by, we'll actually estimated that we will be able to produce 4-fold from what we were doing before. So these are the measures we have put in place to ensure that with this vaccination, as it is being rolled out, we are producing vaccine to be able to meet the demand. And we have already supplied the vaccine to the Director of Veterinary Services for the rollout. And now it is up to him now to reorganize the remaining of the process.
Among the issues the politicians have raised is that the vaccination drive is from foreign, there are foreign hands in this vaccination drive, and also the component that we'll be using is from foreign, something like that. Is that something, is that true, first of all?
That is not true. The drive is local. The drive is informed by purely local mechanisms. And I mentioned the issue of trade. And actually the thinking was very simple. If livestock industry has been contributing to up to 12% of the GDP without government's intervention, now, what if the government intervenes? And let me tell you, by the way, it is not about vaccination alone. The government is doing a lot. There are 3 key drivers in livestock production, in the livestock industry. And the first one is nutrition, the second one is genetics, and the third one is disease. So, unfortunately, the politicians only singled out disease control. Why are they not mentioning what the government is doing concerning matters nutrition, matters concerning breeding? Because the government is doing a lot. We have done a 3-area focus to be able to grow our livestock industry, ensure that we have adequate feeds, ensure that we have superior breeds that are able to produce what the market requires, and then control the diseases so that we can access all the markets. And now, what the government has publicly rolled out, because this one affects all of us, left, right, center, disease control, which we have to work, all of us. And remember, the counties, each county has been doing its own disease control. But again, if one county is doing foot and mouth, the other one is doing black quot anthrax, the other one is doing lumpy skin, by the time you've protected against these diseases, by the time you finish lumpy skin, there's an outbreak of foot and mouth. So people are just running left, right, and center. There's no synchronized, harmonized vaccination plan. And this is what the national government has come in to work with the county governments to be able to stimulate trade.
Help us understand the component of these vaccines, the components that are locally sourced, those that Kenya VeterinaryAssociation export, and whether some of these components Kenya VeterinaryAssociation is getting for free.
Interesting. Now, I'll tell you that there are 2 major components in vaccine production. 2 major components. And the first one is the cell, and the second one is the virus. What we normally do with this cell, we have a cell bank. We multiply cells. When cells have reached a certain volume, we pick the virus. We multiply the virus inside the cells. Then we inactivate the virus so that now this becomes our antigen. That is the key component of vaccine. The rest, we call them excipients. Now, the issue here is, are we getting cells from somewhere else? No. We have our own cell bank that has been there since 1960. Same cell bank. Are we getting any virus from outside? No. We have our own viruses that were isolated from the farms in the country. They're the ones which we are using to produce the vaccine against the disease. Number 3, are we making our own antigen, or we are getting antigen from elsewhere by growing cells, virus, and then getting the antigen? We are doing our own antigen in this country. So whatever these are the chemicals, there are chemicals that you get in any shop. There are chemicals that you get from and if you go to any pharmaceutical company in Babadogo here and other places and ask them, which chemicals are you using? Where are you sourcing them from? All of us are sourcing from the same, because there are no major pharmaceutical suppliers of chemicals. The key one is Merck Life Sciences, where we get most of our chemicals. We are not getting any free chemical anywhere. If you could take time and come and see how, in fact, we should be raising our prices. Why? Because everything has gone up, and we still continue playing in the same playing ground. We are buying from the same suppliers who have increased prices. So we are not getting any support. And I want to say here categorically that KVeVapi is a self-sustaining institution. We are not getting money from Exchequer. We are generating our own revenue. We are paying our own salaries. And all this is coming from the vaccine sale. So this is a self-sustaining institution. Yep. And currently we are not in any partnership to get free things. Thank you.
Is it right to say that all the components of these vaccinations are locally sourced?
I'll say they are sourced from companies. The companies are not local, because most of these pharmaceutical products, remember, in the country, our pharmaceutical industry is not so well established. So we don't have local manufacturers of a number of these chemicals. So these chemicals, we are getting them from different sources. So we have local suppliers, but even these local suppliers are getting these chemicals from other companies. A few of them we're getting from industrial area, a number of them locally. But for us to go into mass production, like any pharmaceutical company, we are buying chemicals from Merck Life Sciences. Merck Life Sciences and others are renowned pharmaceutical companies, that are selling even the chemicals that are used in the production of human pharmaceuticals are coming from these companies.
We come to the end of our interview. My last 2 questions. Number 1, there are fears farmers have raised about this vaccination, where they say that this vaccine might interfere with the metabolic or the genetic of the animal. How far are those true?
I want to help the farmers, and I'm happy that I was in the field for so many years, and I identify myself with the field because I was there. To date, my farmers keep on calling me and they ask me, are you telling us this vaccine is safe? I want to tell you that KVeVapi started producing its first dose of vaccine in 1964. And I can assure you that what we call standard operating procedure for vaccine production has not changed. Completely. It has not changed. The same chemicals we used to use are the same chemicals, because cells are very unique. You need vitamins, you need proteins, you need energy, glucose, you need to grow the cells. The cells have not migrated now to be requiring new requirements for growth. It is the same. So I want to assure the public foot and mouth disease vaccine has been used in this country for 60 good years. Nothing has changed about this vaccine. Nothing. So I want to assure the public that it is the same. But again, we are telling the public that this is how our vaccine looks like. This is where you need to scratch to make sure that you send, so that should any other product get into the market, counterfeit, it can easily be flagged down. So we are also vigilant because we don't want other products from different places to get into the market that have not been cleared by the Veterinary Medicines Directorate. And then now we have these issues coming up. We are protecting our product, we are protecting the farmers, and we are ensuring that we stick to our business, which is to protect livestock against diseases. So farmers, I want to confirm to you that as I am there to protect you, and I can give you my guarantee. Yes.
My last question, I wanted to be your parting shot, although you have already said something that's similar to what I was expecting you to say in your last final words. I'll still ask you, what will be your final words?
I would want to, first of all, address different groups. And the first of the group is our professional colleagues. I would want to say, in the veterinary industry, this is the best opportunity we have ever gotten close to. I've been in this practice for more than 17 years. And this, where we have the priority and the whole country is talking about the veterinary practice, this is the best opportunity we should not even lose. I agree with my colleagues of the issues they've raised. I wouldn't want to say someone is wrong or someone is right. But I want to say that as the veterinary profession, let us not lose this opportunity. Let us come together. This is the opportunity we have. We have been given a space in the highest of the table to discuss our issues, to talk about the capacities of our manufacturing facilities, to talk about the human resource capacities, to talk about even the training, our training facilities, and to see how we can better the industry and support the farmers and also support the industry to be able to achieve its best. I want to request all of us that let us focus on the bigger picture. Let us focus on how we can guarantee the farmers that the exercise, we are the professionals who understand how a good vaccine, how a bad vaccine looks like. Let's give surety to our clients, yeah, because it will start with this exercise and it will spread, and the farmers will say, even the vets themselves don't trust what they are doing to our animals. It will be the worst thing. But if we give them assurance that we are on top of things, then we are likely to benefit a lot from this exercise. And number two, I want to tell politicians that we have interacted with most of you in Parliament and in other forums. We welcome you to Kenya VeterinaryAssociation. Please, just take your time, come, look at what we are doing in Kenya VeterinaryAssociation. If there are questions to be asked, we are ready to answer. If you want us to take you around, we have our production facility, we have our biosafety level 3 lab. We are ready to facilitate you to go walk in through the normal disease clearance process, so that we can allay all the fears that you have, so that when you go back to the public, you will become our first ambassadors. We have opened our doors to the media. We have opened our doors to everybody who is seeking information. We are not hiding anything. We are not holding back anything. We are ready to share all the information. And Kenya VeterinaryAssociation is an open door. It's our institution. We have been producing this vaccine. We have nothing to hide. And we are ready to go to the field and demonstrate to the farmers. And we are ready to work with the counties. We have been working with them, and we still give them a guarantee. And lastly, I want to tell our farmers that please, as Kevevapi, as I said earlier, we are even ready to host you. Come to Kevevapi. We have 2 locations. We have one location in Kabete, where we are doing 12 vaccines, including PPR. And we have a location in Embakasi, where we are doing purely foot and mouth disease vaccine. And we are ready to host you and take you through. This is a very good opportunity for Kevevapi because now people know us. And we are ready to spread the information. We are not holding back anything. I'm your ambassador. I'm in vaccine manufacturing, but I regard myself as a field veterinarian. I'm here to take care of your interest. I'm here to grant you assurance. I'm here to give you the best product so that we can walk this journey of disease control together. So we are here to serve you. Asante sana.
And thank you, Puan MD, for making time for this interview.
Asante.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Viewers, that's the end of our short interview, our one-on-one interview with the Managing Director of the Kenya Veterinary Vaccine Production Institute, Kevevapi. I was your host, Suleiman Bukhari. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.